Have you ever had a moment in your life that completely changed the direction of your path? Maybe it was an accident, a loss, or an experience you simply couldn't explain. For some people, those moments become the beginning of a lifelong spiritual journey. Today, we're welcoming back a dear friend of Seeking Center, intuitive, visionary, artist, energy healer, and soul guide, Lori Tierney. Lori has spent decades helping people reconnect with their own intuition, but her journey began with a near-death experience as a young child that forever changed the way she experienced the world. During that extraordinary experience, Lori says she encountered Mother Mary and was shown the life that awaited her. Years later, that connection was reawakened and became the foundation for the work she now shares through intuitive readings, healing, art, and messages from Mother Mary and the Ascended Masters. Today, we're talking about near-death experiences, divine guidance, how to know when spirit is trying to get your attention, and what Mother Mary's messages might mean for all of us right now. Let's get going. Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you, Robin and Karen? It's so good to be with you today. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's so great to see. It's like a reunion. It's been
Yeah,
too
it's a
long.
reunion, and I've got I'm in Sedona, so I have the red rocks behind me here.
And I feel like every time we talk to you, we actually like suck up the vibration of
Oh,
I
Sedona.
agree.
yeah.
Robin and I love it so much, and you kind of exude that
Oh,
in
thank
your
you.
energy as
Yeah.
well. So it feels good already. And I love
The
this
red rocks are
subject.
calling you. Yeah.
Exactly. I love this subject of this podcast this week. For some of our listeners and viewers, they know your story. But for those who don't, can you take us back to that moment on the roller coaster?
Yeah, the
What
life-changing moment.
happened? Yeah,
Yeah.
that life-changing moment.
I think I gave you guys the slide of what that roller coaster looks like, so you can share that whenever or however you'd like to. But I was born in Los Angeles and I was living there, and I was about 3.5, almost 4 years old. So I do remember it. And my cousin and my father, my cousin, male cousin, Danny, who was 14 at the time, wanted to go to POP. So those people who don't know what that stands for, it's Pacific Ocean Park, which was on the pier in Santa Monica. And it, at the time, I'm dating myself, but back in 1959, it was a huge, gigantic, colossal roller coaster. Now it's just a Ferris wheel. They've scaled it back. And the roller coaster went out over the ocean. So there was a huge high ramp up and a dip that went out over the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. And of course, it was at night, and it was at a time when rides like that did not have a bar that says, oh, you're too little for the ride. Now they have all these safety features, right? Well, this was years ago. They just let me on the ride. So I sat between them, and that has this dip that drops over into the Pacific Ocean. So, you hear that cranking noise going up the roller coaster. I'm not a fan of them, by the way, now. And then I went down, and I was too light for the ride. Obviously, I was too little, and I flew out over the bar. I started to fly out over the bar, and probably what felt like it was hours, but it was probably minutes. Unfortunately, my cousin was alert more so than my dad, and he ultimately grabbed me by the ankles and pulled me
Oh
back
my
into the cab.
God. That is
As
so frightening.
I know I'm not good with heights, obviously, after that. I was heading for, and all I could remember seeing was this black abyss, the Pacific Ocean. And then I saw a light. It's almost like there's a lag of time, right? You go into a no time zone. And I saw this beautiful, what I viewed as an angel, angelic being presence. It was Mary. She was blue. She was wearing like this color that I'm wearing. She was showing me herself in that color and in a safe way. As a child, angels are something I could relate to and not be afraid of. And so she came, and I felt safe, right? I didn't feel like I was flying into the ocean and dying, but I was. I had already left. And then she said, well, I'm here to help you because you can choose to go right now, leave your body, or you can stay. And I'll show you. It's kind of like that movie, It's a Wonderful Life, right? Where they showed the gentleman, if you leave, this is what happens to everybody that loves you, right, in your life. This is what goes on for them. And if you stay, this is what happens. So she sort of did one of those with me.
Wow.
And she showed me what really cinched it for me. And I was like, okay, I'll stay. It was my mother. I was an only child at that time, but going on to have another child and losing that baby. So, which she did do. She did have another child, a brother. I had a brother, and he passed at 9 months. So I thought at the time she said that to me and showed me my mom's sorrow, having lost at that point, it would have been two children. So I said, okay, I guess I'll stay. And
Wow, Lord.
so the moment I made the choice to stay, my cousin grabbed me by the ankles and pulled me into the cab over the bar and sat on me for the rest of the ride so I wouldn't fly out.
Wow.
I feel like I need a deep breath right now after
I
that.
bet you do, because it's like I can feel that you go back to that moment. And
Oh,
here
yeah.
you are,
Oh,
however many
yeah.
decades after, yet you can
Yeah.
still go back to that moment.
Yeah, I can. You know, a lot of people with near-death experiences say they see a tunnel of light, they see white light. I did not see that. I saw her light and I saw the ocean, which was black and very dark, right? I felt like I was going into the drink, as they call it, the big Pacific Ocean. And of course, my eyes were probably like saucers, but I did see her light and I felt her light and I felt her embrace and I felt safety with her.
Lori, were you religious at the time? Like, were you brought up
My
with Mary in your life?
no, not I was little. I was like almost four, so not really. But my mom and dad were Catholics. I was raised Catholic. This isn't about the religion, religiosity in any way or religion. Mary is certainly a non-denominational being. She loves everyone, and it's not about that. But I knew who she was from the statues, like in the church. And of course, my mother would pray to her, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it wasn't really about any type of religion at all. It was just that I just felt like she was an angel.
I love that too, because I think back when I was in Catholic school too, and I just remember being kind of afraid of all the statues in the,
I
in the
know,
church.
right?
So
Yeah.
Mary, all of them were kind of
Mhm.
foreign to me. And I
Yeah.
just love this idea that you were so young,
Yeah.
while you were aware, so you could be aware of who she was to
I was.
identify her. And I also love the
No,
fact that it was Mother Mary. It was as if she came to protect you from a
she did.
mother
She
perspective.
did. She came as a protector, as a mother, as a protector, angelic light presence as well. So yeah. And then I felt like the grip of my cousin, when he gripped my ankles, that's when I came back in, right? And that was the first sensation of physicality, I guess, is what I would say that I felt coming back into my body and into the reality of, okay, I guess I said, yes, I'll stay here. So here I am in physical form again, in the body that I was given.
And don't you think it's interesting that you were somewhere around 4 and yet you could understand the
Yeah.
concept of,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't at the time. It took me a while to understand what really occurred. It took some life experiences, hypnosis. It took a lot to really get to the depth of it. And a lot of it had to do with that bar that comes across in the roller coaster that holds you in, right? It's kind of like I didn't want to wear any belts. I was like,
Oh, wow. Now,
right.
Lori, did you tell your parents after the
Um,
roller coaster
my
ride what happened?
my dad kind of glossed over it with my mother because she wasn't real excited about us going on, having them take me on the roller coaster anyway. And he did say, well, it was really bumpy and, she was probably a little too small for the ride, but, Danny here we took good care of her, whatever. So he didn't really, it got kind of, I guess, glossed over.
So you didn't mention the Mother Mary aspect of it.
Not then. It
Wow.
was it was as though, okay, I'm here. That was an event in my childhood. I had a lot of some traumatic events at a young age. That was one. And so life goes on, right? And it wasn't until I had lived a good chunk of my life, maybe into my 30s, that she and I really, I mean, I always prayed to her, loved her, knew about her and whatnot, but really connected in a more of a metaphysical way, I would say.
so tell us about that. Yeah, what happened?
She showed me what life would be like, and it's like life would be what life is. And I think we're here, and there's a lot of contrast, right, that we go through to grow on a soul level. And that contrast is contrast. It's not always like, unicorns and cotton candy at the fair. We have some tough stuff that we go through. For me at the time in my 30s, it was like a second. By the time I had ended a second marriage, I was like, gee, I thought I was getting married to one person for the rest of my life. I'd have a fairy tale thing with the kids and the white picket fence and all that. And it wasn't that. And so that's when I started to look outside of myself, which it's always about going within and seeking. I was seeking center, right? I was looking for no plug.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
But I was looking for my center point, and I couldn't find it because couldn't understand why these things were happening to me. What was I doing wrong? Was I a really lousy wife? All this stuff. So anyway, I started asking for help, spiritual help in various ways, praying, meditating, seeking out maybe people who might be channels. I was more aligned metaphysically as I got older than religion. And so that's how she came back to me. At a point, I started doing a lot of work with the Ascended Masters, and one in particular, Saint Germain, came to me, and I had a friend who was a very clear, amazing, she's on the other side now, but a channel for him. And he was the one that reintroduced me to Mary and said, you have a soul agreement with a divine being to be a channel for her and to represent her, all of that, or represent this person. He didn't even say her. And he said, do you know who that is? And I immediately said, it's Mary. And he said, yes. He said, you have a choice. Again, they give you choices. They don't say, well, you're going to do this, and they ask, right? We have choices. So he said, would you like to pursue that? He said, it will enhance your life in ways that you can't imagine. And I said, well, yes, if I agreed to that, then yes, I would like to do that. And he said, all right. So it was a really profound time. It was in Phoenix. It was at 12/12 on 12/12.
No.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was midnight, 12/12 on that day, December 12th. We made the agreement, and he brought through Mary in a way that I could basically feel her, know it was her, know her presence, know her energy, knew I was not being deceived in any way. And, we have a point behind the head here. It's called the zeal point chakra. When I do bring her in, she comes in through that way. Or I can talk to her like I'm talking to you. She is in the room and she'll just, give me a transmission. And I know it's her because her words are different than mine. I don't say things like, do you have a question? She'll say when people are with her, do you have a query of that which I am? So she uses kind of old English a bit. So yeah, that's when that started. And that was really about 35 years ago.
As I'm listening to you, I'm trying to imagine her. And I have to admit, it's kind of hard for me to separate Mary and Jesus and that, the whole story of Mary with the spirituality, non-religious path that some of us are following or combining for that matter. But how do you feel her? What is her presence and how does she come through in a way that we can understand?
She's really soft. I mean, she's a lot softer than I am. I'm an Aries, I'm a little bit the Ram. And she's very, she's like, there's a softness to her energy, and it's quieter and it's gentle. It's yet very protective and very strong. So again, and she speaks in a manner that, they use your vocabulary to work with you, but she would sound like she was maybe British or something, or she comes in with a slightly different accent or use of vocabulary words than I would use so that she can differentiate herself to me. But she's like a friend, and she doesn't want to be looked at as someone who's in a hierarchical situation. They want us to view them, all the ascended masters for that matter, and archangels, they would like us to view them as their friends, or we're their equals. They're reminding us that we have the God spark within us, just as they do. So they're just here to reflect that to us and not try to be something that you would put on a pedestal. So even when she said, when I come through, you may call me Mary, you don't have to call me Mother Mary. I kind of do, but she just says, I'm Mary. So no ego, in other words.
Well, I think even from the religious perspective in her story, it's really fascinating because they say, right, that she was so young when she became the mother of Jesus. It wasn't on purpose. She was kind of told what to
Well,
do
she
and
was, yeah,
became,
she was
right?
selected, groomed
Yeah,
to,
she just,
her vibrational frequency was what was needed. And that's
yeah.
really what she talks about too, from a healing perspective, which is so true right now. We were talking about this, I think, before the show, that frequency, vibration, light, sound, all of that is how we heal, right? We can
Mhm.
heal ourselves. And so she just happened to be trained and was of that correct vibrational frequency to bring in that miracle energy that she brought in.
Well, and I love the fact that she gave birth to your kind of path that
Mhm.
you ended
She
up
did.
going
She
on, and
did.
in such a gentle way. And that's always the way I picture her, is that she,
Yeah.
even in the story in the New Testament, she wasn't a force. She wasn't like, everybody look at me, I'm the mom of,
No.
this
Mm-mm.
guy. It was, she was always
Yes.
kind of stood in the background
Yeah,
and
she was
was more of
extremely
that.
humble. She was very, very humble. What happened after that connection was made, I was obviously, it was pretty profound. So my mom and I were like best friends for my life. And so I had to tell her what happened. And she knew my friend, Sarah, and she had sessions herself with Saint Germain. And she said, well, I'm not surprised. And I was like, what do you mean you're not surprised? And she said, well, because when I was pregnant with you, because she was older at that time, 29 to have a baby was older, right? Not now, but back when she was pregnant with me, she was 29. She had me when she was 30. And she said, everybody said, better pray to Mary that you have a healthy baby because you're way too old to be pregnant. And so she was a devout Catholic, and she did, say what she did during the pregnancy was she did novenas to the Blessed Mother. He goes, well, I told her, if you deliver a healthy baby for me, I will dedicate her life in service to you. And I,
No.
and I said, Mom, they
Wow.
take you up on that stuff. What do you mean you made a deal with Mary? So she
I
did.
mean, fully,
Wow.
that was
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah. I said,
Yeah.
well, okay, now I know why this is going on. You made a deal.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
but
like she was called in from the very, very beginning and was with
yeah,
you ever
yeah,
since.
she was.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
I mean, what validation for you and for her? I
Yes,
mean,
it was
clearly you were
valid.
born, so
Yeah.
that there's something there. But I
Yeah,
mean,
she
just
did.
what a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment. And she just went, of course, I'm not surprised.
Lori, when this happened for you, and you remembered obviously this moment in your life when you were four, did it give you strength or even more validation? Like, oh, this is why I'm here. That moment when I was so young and I didn't really know what that was, but now I do. Did it help validate propel you forward? Like,
It did. And it gave me probably the greatest gift I could get, which was profound faith, because
Totally.
life is not easy. And sometimes we have to have a lot of faith to get through things. And so that was probably her greatest gift, grace as well, but faith, being able to have resilience, to keep going, to know you have a purpose and you're here for a reason and you've made a choice to help people, which I have, and to be with her as much as I can be for other people who need her light and her love and her support.
That is so beautiful. And for you to also share that you were going through your own
Oh, yeah.
period of questioning, like, what is
Yeah,
going on here?
right. I was. And then you look at her story and you look at what she went through
mhm.
and all of the things that maybe we go through that we think are the worst. You kind of puts it in perspective a bit. It's not an easy path at all for anybody who is seeking higher knowledge or a spiritual path. It's not easy.
No, I always think
Yeah.
about the fact that we came here so that we could experience all of these different
Mhm.
emotions,
Yes, we did.
and the ups and downs of being human.
Yes, we did. We came in to experience it all. Like I said earlier, the contrast, right? The
Mhm.
duality that's here, the light, the dark, the up, the down, in the out, the sun, the moon. I mean,
That's right.
we're in a
That's
dual universe here and planet, and we are going through that right now. Clearly, obviously, we're all experiencing the duality of everything right now
we
because
are. It feels very extreme, but
yeah, it
yes,
is. And it's amazing time to be alive for sure. To be in a physical body here on this planet at this time is a great gift. I would see people lined up, right? Everybody was lined up to be able to go to Earth and be here right now. So as hard as sometimes it is, that's the takeaway, is that it is a profound time to be alive.
It is.
Yes.
I think the key is there's so much noise, and how do
Yeah.
you filter all of that
Uh-huh.
out so that you can hear, feel, experience all of the things that you truly are here to experience.
Yeah, some of it's the noise. You're here to experience the noise so that you can learn how to filter it out. So it's
Hmm.
like, okay, and what do you want to take in? What do you want to put in your field? Hopefully it's not fear-based, because
Mhm.
then you create more of that in the world. And there's a lot of people who are kind of in that loop. And so it can get challenging, as you know.
Well, it's about that word. Robin had been using that word faith a lot, because you
Yeah.
can go down, sometimes you feel like you're in the middle of the desert. It's like, I'm going to go on my spiritual
Yeah.
path. And then you look
Right.
up and you're like,
Right.
where the heck am
Yeah.
I?
Yep.
And having that faith that somewhere in front of you is going to be the key for all of it. And that's really what Mother Mary actually endured in her own life too, not knowing where the path was taking her either, but
Yeah.
having that faith.
And profound faith through powerful adversity. And through,
Yes.
I can't think of anything more devastating, because I watched my mom go through that too, with losing a child.
That idea of profound faith is something that I hope everyone listening today, there's a reason you're hearing that term and that phrase,
Yeah,
because you may need to turn to that right now in your own life.
I think we all do. Right.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, all of us in some way can relate to being a mother, even if we haven't had a child. We have a pet, we have a project, we have
Yeah.
things that
Hmm.
we're giving, like
Yeah.
giving birth
We're,
and
we're, birth,
nurturing.
we're birthing and nurturing a lot of things. It doesn't have to be a human.
That's
That's
right.
right. And having that resilience to continue forward, even when you don't necessarily know where things are going to
Right.
end up. One
All
of
right.
the questions that we have for you, Lori, that I love is, if someone here is listening to your story
Mhm.
and is on that spiritual path, but it's like, well, I never had a Mother Mary appear to me. What do you say to them? How do you start to tune in and recognize spirit communicate? Because we all have our guides. They're always trying to communicate with us. We just need to ask them. But what do you suggest?
Chances are she has been with them. If they're at a place where they're saying, well, I don't know, I haven't seen her. I would have said the same thing had I not had it. I would have been like, I can't. And I honestly don't, I don't physically see her energy now. I mean, I've done aura photography with her, where when I started this process, I said, I need something tangible. I need something, if I'm going to tell people that I do this, I need to see you, and in a different way than I did when I was 3. And so she came into the aura photo.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was able to, at least I said, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So you can ask. I mean, that's one thing people can do. They can ask. And they may not see her or whoever they're looking to connect with on the light realms, but they could get signs. They'll start to get signs that they're with them. They do fun things with me. Like, I was hiking Thunder Mountain this morning before our podcast, and I looked down, and there was this beautiful feather in front of my path. I've got one here that landed. It was the eagle feather, the under part of the eagle, that came to me. So it's birds. I don't want to digress onto that movie that Spielberg just did, but I will say that I love the part with the cardinals, because
Yes.
I get cardinal signs all the time. So they come to me, they come to my bird feeder, usually at profound moments too. So I guess my answer to that question is to watch the signs, start to see the signs around you, and allow them to show you their signs. Not the kind of sign, everybody wants their sign. I want to win the lottery. I want this, I want that. Let them connect with you, or her connect with you if it's Mary, and let her give you her signs.
Well, and I want to even give an example of signs that came up already in our conversation today that I know were meant for me, which
Okay.
is, you brought up two things. One, that you're an Aries and the Ram. And then you
Uh-huh.
also, which is my dad. My dad's
Okay.
initials
Okay.
are Ram,
Oh,
Robert
wow.
Allen Miller. And he comes
Okay.
to me in these like unbelievable ways every single day. And I know that was meant because we're talking about mothers. I recently lost my mom.
I
And
know.
you brought up the term Grace. My
Yes.
mom's name was Grace.
Oh,
And
I
you
love
can't
that.
you can't make that up.
I
Like,
can't
it's
make that up.
like, and
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
all in one conversation. And for me, I know that those are just little winks for me to know I'm
Sure.
exactly where I'm meant to be at this very
You are.
moment.
You are,
Yeah.
and that is their way of letting you know they're with you too.
Yeah. And I also now believe that to me, it's also to show me that Mother Mary is with me too. And that's not somebody that I probably normally call upon. But the fact that we're talking about Mother Mary and those winks came up, like
Yep.
that's huge.
I wouldn't be here with both of you if she wasn't with both of you.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm gonna cry, Lori.
You're gonna cry. Oh no. You'd
Now
have to
I'm
do
gonna
major
cry.
editing.
Well, and I love even that you said earlier, Lori, that the numbers are, that's always my sign when you're walking by the
Yeah.
microwave oven to go, heat up
Mhm.
your coffee and
Oh,
it's
right.
12:12
12, 12, 11,
or you just
11.
happen to be
Yeah.
looking up from the computer and the
Yep.
numbers are right there in
Yep.
front of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's just those little winks that
Those are,
are
yeah, those are great signs. Here in Sedona, we get the spiral hawk. The red
mm,
tail hawks come over, and I know it's like spirit is in the house when they show.
Wow.
So everybody has their way of identifying those signs that really, like you said, Robin, that resonate for you, and where you went, okay, it was my dad, it was
I
Grace,
knew, yeah, it's like
right?
unbelievable. I'm like, okay.
And
I'm
I
so
didn't know that,
no,
obviously,
and I'm always in
beforehand.
awe. Like I'm
So,
just always
yeah.
in awe because it happens every single day in the
Yeah.
strangest ways. But
Yeah. My mom used to come to me when she passed away. She used to be a physical education teacher at Culver City High School in California and LA. And she taught girls PE back in the day. And they had their anthem, and it was this fight song. I would start hearing the fight song, in my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my mother. So that was
that's
her
great.
way. It was either the fight song or the cardinal, but I knew
oh
it.
my goodness. Well, and what do you say Mother Mary wants all of us to know at this time?
Believe what she would like to have shared, she said to me before the call quickly, was that she wants everyone to know who might be listening or who could listen to like the replays that you're not alone, even at your darkest hours. She said she's with you all, and all you must do is just call on her and she's there. She's like, I'm a breath away from everyone. And these times are challenging. I mean, we have obviously have been through some challenging things on this planet. It really ramped up. I can tell you one sign before I answer that question that I didn't share that had to do with me deciding, where I'm going to live. And I think that's relevant for a lot of people. People think, where should I live? Where's it safe? There's a lot of earthquakes, there's fires, there's all floods, tornadoes, hurricanes. Where am I supposed to be? And I had moved to Sedona. I was guided to be here 6 years ago. And then I had a client. I was doing this work, but also still doing some other, wrapping up some nonprofit work for a corporation in LA. They asked me to come and do a project for them, and it was a meaningful project. So I said yes. And I went back and rented an apartment in the Palisades, which is where I grew up. And I can remember a day sitting at the ocean, living in that apartment, walking down to the beach at Temescal Canyon there at the Pacific Coast Highway, and sitting up and looking at the bluffs, beautiful Palisades bluffs. It was a yoga moment. It was Santosha. It was just pure contentment, right? And I said to myself, I think I'm going to just stay. All of a sudden, it was as if she yelled at me. She did yell, I could hear it. And she only chooses her words wisely. If you stay, you'll get burned.
Oh,
That's what she said.
Oh, I
And
just got the goosebumps. Oh my
I
God.
said burned. I thought maybe she meant like, it was slang, like, oh, you business would go,
right.
because it was a couple of years before the fire. And she said, if you stay, you'll get burned. And it was like she yelled it with a megaphone. And I was like, oh my
Wow.
gosh,
Oh my
I guess I'm
gosh.
not supposed to stay. So I let the
Wow.
apartment go and came back to Sedona, right? And what happened? Everything burned
Oh,
down that I've ever lived in the Palisades after.
Wow, really?
that's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
including the apartment I was in at the time.
Wow, Lori.
So she's very protective, obviously, and I'm very grateful for that guidance. Like she says here, you're not alone, even in your darkest hour or even in your times of indecision and where to live or where to be or what to do. And she wants people to know that our prayers have profound meaning and they are heard, even if the answer comes kind of in a divine timing, like that did, actually. It was a little ahead, but boy, I was glad I was not trying to run away from a fire. Whereas,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some here, but they've been far enough away into the forest. But nothing that is meant for us will ever pass us by. If it's meant for you, it'll happen.
Mhm.
She also likes it when people go within. All the answers are really within us. And to use the tools, we all need the tools, those of us on a spiritual path, and those of us that aren't, guess what? You're going to be on one whether you want to be or not with what's happening on this planet right now. So, use your tools, meditation, sunlight, pure water and food, grounding, put your feet in the earth, yoga, chanting, art, music, all of the things, do the things that bring you joy, really. And ask in the morning, she says, how can I serve? To ask is, okay, how may I serve not just myself, but how can I help humanity? How can I serve? Where am I needed? How can I help?
I love
So
that
those are,
question.
that's her.
I think because a lot of times, so many people don't or think that they're not special enough in
Oh
a
yeah,
way
everyone
to
is.
warrant that attention. And I love how you described her, and you can feel the kindness and the resonance that she has, and almost just this quiet
Yeah.
nature that she
Mhm.
has, and that it's okay to call her in. But I think so many people don't realize that they are on a spiritual path because they're
Everyone
here.
is. We're here. Everyone is who's here right now. This is a profound a calling of people that were called to be here at this time. These are anyone who's here right now. This isn't the first rodeo. Okay. You might as well, jump on board, folks.
Totally. I also have to say, I love looking at Mother Mary in this different way because I am not religious. And so I feel like so many people have always looked at Mother Mary in this religious
Yeah,
tone and tenor. And to know that she's here for everyone in this,
for everyone.
she's of the light for all of us.
For everyone.
Um,
And probably with a caveat, especially the children. So for all of us adults and animals and everyone, but she is a fierce child advocate.
We're all children, aren't
Yeah,
we?
we all are.
that's true.
Yeah,
That is
so
true. It's a
that is
really good point. Well, and you also work with other archangels and
Mhm,
ascended masters.
I
And
do.
I know you've come up with what you call soul guided messages. Can you
So
talk a little bit about that and how that's come through to you?
yes, I can. I'm an artist. I majored in art in college and then went on and got my degree in interior design. But before that, I worked for a large entertainment company in Los Angeles that did shows and stage shows around the world. And they did one in South America, and I toured with them as a scenic artist. So I have a scenic art background in Hollywood, but and also educationally. And during the was it 2020 when we went through the pandemic, I was in Sedona and I was like a lot of people home. People weren't going out much. They weren't doing a lot of normal things. And I was trying to figure out how I could continue my art with, which I like to do big oil paintings and big things that are messy. And in an apartment setting, I'm like, how am I going to do this? And so she came to me, Mary, and she said, sketch. She said, just sketch and then color it in like you did when you were a little girl, do. So I thought I was going to call it Soul Sketch Tarot, which she said, I'll start it and then others are going to come with their messages and their images. So that's how I did it. I just started sketching, and I started sketching with graphite and then pastel because it wasn't as messy as an oil painting. And so I created these ascended masters, archangels images in a deck, which there's some of them that I pulled for the collective here, but also here's the deck that I created during that time. And I haven't published anything yet, but I definitely have all the channeled messages and I do have the art done, and I just have to edit it and get it out there at the right divine time.
How many did you end up channeling?
There's a lot. There could be two decks basically. but
Wow.
the ones that I picked, if we can segue,
Yeah.
for the collective.
Yeah, we're going to do a message for everyone.
Yeah, it was the first card that came through. This was Sacred Heart of Mary. So this was her
I was
first.
going to say that's exactly how I pictured her.
She's
Yeah,
beautiful.
a little bit
Wow.
more of a sketchy type image, not too full of color. They got more colorful as we went. Then this was Isis, the goddess Isis in Egypt. So she comes to people. She's obviously very powerful. Her message is about rebirth for sure. And also, fertility, motherhood. She's a healing protector of the Egyptian pantheon. And it also says to me when people receive this card, and the collective did, that some of us may be called to go to Egypt during this lifetime sooner than later, because they've had profound discoveries under the pyramids. And I know they're getting ready to potentially, like they did with Machu Picchu, they may close some of that off. So
Oh,
if you're
wow.
thinking of going to Egypt, it's a good time to go. So she tends to pop in and say, remind everybody, come see me in Egypt. And she's, like I said, it's about rebirth. And that's what our planet is, in a rebirth. We're in a birthing phase. This one is that I pulled was Lakshmi. So the goddess Lakshmi. So we've got different versions basically of Mary, but Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity and abundance in the Hindu Indian pantheon. And she is also about inner peace, that word I used on the beach, santosha, that place of inner peace, a reverence within. So she's here too. And abundance is always, we're in a transition on this planet financially and everything. So she's there to call on her. She's there to help with your needs, your prosperity needs, your things that, your rent, your food, all the stuff that you need, your light bill, all that practical stuff we need to survive here, right? We're still here in these physical vessels, and we still have to take care of our material needs and master this material plane of existence that we're on. So that would be Lakshmi. And then the other one that I pulled is Miriam. I call it Miriam and Child. It also could be known as the Black Madonna. There's a lot of beautiful imagery out about the Black Madonna. And her message is Ubuntu, which is a Bantu term meaning, African meaning for humanity. And so it's like, if I have a piece of bread and you two don't have any bread, I'm going to pull off a couple corners and make sure you guys have bread too, basically in a very simplistic way. So taking care and making sure everyone is provided for is her message. And also, how may I serve is another of hers. This one is called the Angel of the Violet Flame. So that goes along with the work of the Ascended Master Saint Germain. And the violet flame, and all of the flames, the rays, the various rays are listed. The violet flame is the seventh ray, which is the purple flame that was gifted to us, to humanity, as a tool we can use to wrap around ourselves and to provide us with a vehicle of transmutation of any kind of negativity that might be coming towards us, or our rooms, our homes. And there's different rays. There's a whole list in the book about the master ray, the first, second, third, and who are the ascended masters that belong to those rays. But for this purpose, this is the violet flame and the angel that represents that flame. And it's a powerful tool that people can use. Some of you that are listening may already use it. Some of you may not know about it. And you just simply wrap it around you energetically, etherically, and visualize that purple, that violet color. So, and it's a very protective and healing tool that you can use. And this one, of course, when I do readings for people, is the one that most people want to know about, which is, this is actually the twin flame card. So it doesn't matter. It's not gender specific. These are galactic twin flames because they're sort of a blue color, but a male, female. And so what is that? It's a mirror, right? Do we have a twin flame agreement? A lot of people that are listening in the collective here do, or this card wouldn't have come up. So what is that? Is it you finding your perfect soulmate? Not necessarily. It's a little trickier than that. It's a mirror. It's you coming in. There's one soul in the Atman, the all that is, that drops into the planet into two bodies. Doesn't matter, male, female, you could be sisters, whatever. You two could be twin flames. And what does that do is it's a reflection of yourself. Who better to teach you to go within and to learn about yourself than yourself? So you're mirroring each other. So that has some dynamics that go with it, because there's usually some things that when we're being mirrored that we don't want to look at about ourselves. Right? And especially, sorry to say, but if it's a male female dynamic, and the guy's showing you something you want to look at, it's like, I'm done with him, or vice versa. So, yeah, then you get into those dynamics of the runner and the chaser. And all of a sudden, finally, they realize, the person that's been running realizes, no, wait a minute, that is the person I'm supposed to be with. So there's that. And then this one is Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael, you can see his sword is down. He is a great protector of humanity. And his greatest weapon, he reminds us, is not his sword, but it is the love in his heart. And if you would send love to those people that are causing you distress, watch the energy shift. Use him, call him in. He's also great in dreams. He comes to people a lot in my card readings where he wants to connect with folks that might have a book that they're going to do. He's really good with wanting you to put a little journal and a pen by your bed. So when you do wake up at 3 a.m, like we all do, transcribing some of his messages to you from your dream state.
Oh my goodness.
So there's a lot of homework here for everybody who's listening.
I mean,
yeah. So many messages. And
yeah.
But at the root, it's the reminder that all of these beings are really here to help us.
They are.
We call
and they are rooting us on. They are cheering us on. Sedona is a mecca for non-human encounters, ships. We see them all the time here. It is the first Stargate on the planet. There are many, but it's the first. And I do believe it'll be just because of the sensitivity to the non-human beings that are seen here, it'll probably be like the point of contact for a conference where people come from various planets or whatnot to all mingle together here. So I'm not.
Do you all talk about that?
Oh, yeah.
I want to know what you say. Like, I love that.
People want to come here to see, craft in the sky, and you can see them. They will show themselves. Oh, yeah. If you're the right frequency and you have love in your heart, sure.
Wow. I can't think of a more beautiful and holy kind of a place.
Agree.
Yeah. It feels like it's just waiting for that moment. Yeah.
And now that they're talking about it in Congress, I can say that without everybody saying, "Oh, she's really crazy."
We've been talking. I know we've talked about this with you before.
We have. Well, when we were out at Enchantment.
Yes. Yeah, we did.
You and I talked about it.
We did.
We did. Because you just go out there and you can
feel it. You can really, there's a frequency and it's powerful. Like you literally pull in to Sedona and you feel a shift.
Feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do. And if you have a moment to be able to lay down on those red rocks, we've been able to.
Oh, yeah, that's the best thing.
It's like the heartbeat of the planet is right there.
It's right there.
Oh, now I want to go back.
You have to come back.
Well, but I think,
come back. Here's a good segue. Come back and see this Daughters of Heaven conference that I'll be speaking at.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that. What is that?
So it's in Sedona, but it's also live stream. So for folks that can't come here and enjoy these red rocks and lie on them, like you said, Karen, it's the 25th and 26th of September this year. It'll be my third time speaking. And Mary's going to talk a little bit. There's the lineup right there of great, speakers, musicians. The book was material that came through Michael Murdad, who is the gentleman that founded the Global Center for Christ Consciousness in Sedona. He's an amazing reverend, speaker, orator, healer, person, author. And you can go to daughtersofheaven.com if you would like to get tickets. It's really... The Daughters of Heaven are considered to be a unique and final facet of light workers that are incarnating on the planet now and becoming aware of their role and title. They're embodiments of the Divine Mother and her message, basically. So it has a lot to do with Mother Mary, and that's why they were gracious enough to have me for the third year. And it's assisting in birthing Christ consciousness within all beings, not about religion, but about how people act towards one another. That's what really that means. It's like brotherly, sisterly love. How do we help? How do we serve? Ubuntu, like I mentioned earlier. And they're the children of God who've come to observe, feel, and make holy the world around them and to help. So that you get into this container in this conference, and there's amazing musicians. There's a lady that's going to be there this year again, who's a harpist that's just, her music will take you out. It'll take you out of this planet. So it's a different kind of a gathering, and it's going to be coming up in September. So I hope people come, either come say hi to me and listen or catch it on the live stream. You can stay at home and watch the whole conference and still be really part of that energy and part of a community of people who are there to support you and help you if you need help. That's the best part.
Well, what an honor to be able to share that with everyone listening and all the work that you're doing. And what's the best way for people to work with you?
They can reach me through, I have two websites, loritierney.org. So LORITIERNEY.org, or soulguidemessages.com as well to see some of the art and both sites. Lori Tierney 108@gmail.com. You can find me on email too. But the websites will email me if somebody's interested in a session, a reading, or just wants to connect. So,
well, thank you so much for having this soul contract and then sharing it.
And I'd also
Really.
like to thank your cousin.
Yes,
having the strength to keep you in that
Danny.
chair.
I know he's on the other side, but he's a
Wow.
amazing being. Yeah, he saved my life.
I mean, I think about that. I mean, he couldn't have been that much older than you, and with
No,
that,
he was young too, but he was
wow.
on it. He was faster than my dad. Let me just say that.
Part of his contract to be
Yeah.
to be here. And yeah, we love these conversations, Lori. I just always feel, not only because you're just in Sedona, but I feel like you embody that, and you have walked the walk and followed your intuition and listened to those messages. And it's just always so wonderful to share stories like that with
Oh, thank
people.
you. Yeah, I think it helps people realize that they're not alone, like she said. There are a
Exactly.
lot of people that are here to help, I guess, the best way. And also those that are unseen, that we don't see quite as clearly as we see each other. But that's changing. So as this planet has more and more photonic light go on it, and the vibrational frequencies are rising on the planet, you want to be there too. You want to be vibrationally specific to Earth and compatible. So.
Well, and I think, Lori, you're actually always introducing Karen and I to, you're part of like the new frontier is the way that I like to think about it. You really are. You're always helping raise our vibration and our consciousness. And so therefore we get to share, and what an honor to share with everyone today.
Oh, thank you again for having me. It's so great to always see you both. And I hope to see you in Sedona again soon. And
we hope so too. We
Figure
hope
that
so too.
next trip out. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank
Lori.
you.